I lied about the gender of the person who sawed me as a child. I was sawed as a child when I was 9 by another child the same age. It was something that really messed me up and has caused problems throughout my life and has affected the relationships I've had with others. I told my therapist I was sawed by a boy, but in reality it was a girl. Everything else I told her was the truth. I told her it was a boy because she wouldn't have taken it as seriously as she is currently and wouldn't have empathized. I feel extremely guilty, and she has been so caring and understanding. Am I an evil person? Also, I really don't want to tell my therapist. Would it make a huge difference? No, you're not evil. Just broken and afraid. I relate to you more than you know. I think you should tell your therapist the truth. Though, if she doesn't take you seriously, time to find a new therapist. She's supposed to be supporting you. No, I had the exact same experience. I was sad at 9 by a girl my age also. I lied to my therapist and said she was a couple years older because I was afraid she wouldn't take me seriously. It messed me up a lot too, and really fucked me and my life up in a lot of ways. I'm so sorry. Child-on-child saw needs to be more talked about, and I think people are finally starting to take it more seriously. Therapist here, I think it could be healing for you to share the truth with your therapist. If they're a good therapist, they will hold a safe space for you, stay present with you, and explore why you felt you needed to lie. This likely will form an even closer and tighter bond between the two if you and will help continue the good work you've already started around the saw. If not, it's definitely worth looking for a new therapist. I'm sorry to hear this. My daughter was sad in a bathroom by another girl a few months ago. She has changed personality-wise since then and gotten even more anxious. Gender shouldn't matter, but it does, unfortunately. Girls can assault too, and is just as harmful. I've lied to my therapist before. There's nothing wrong with you. But I will tell you this: lying to your therapist is a huge waste of your money and your time. For the sake of getting to the point and fully dealing with it, come clean or find a new therapist and start over. You're not evil, but you need to address the problem. And it is very much a problem of the assumption that whether you were traumatized by a male or female would change the value of the trauma. If your therapist has given you ample reason to believe it would change her approach, you need to find a different therapist. If not, your fears about it suggest a need to address other issues regarding the meaning of gender differences. No matter who traumatized you, the trauma is valid and should be addressed. Pretending that it was different than it was will not fully address it. Oh my God, this exact same thing happened to me, and the few people I've told I also switched the genders for the same reason. Sometimes I doubt that it even counts as saw, and I feel really shitty about victimizing myself. You're not evil. Nor are you alone. I get it. I've been assaulted and preyed on by women. Some teenagers. Some adults. Some horrible people. Unfortunately. Don't take this seriously. I don't blame you for being scared and apprehensive. But you aren't alone. You're not evil. Doesn't really matter. Saw is saw no matter how you slice it. It does seem to bother you though. She would take it seriously if a boy or girl. I think you're being dishonest with yourself because it was a girl. I think you should tell her because it seems important to you. If your therapist wouldn't have treated you in the exact same way had you said you were assaulted by a female, then your therapist is not worth piss. I suspect though that you may have misjudged your therapist. It's not only men who can be predatory. I'm sure they or their colleagues will have worked through similar issues elsewhere in their work history. Be honest with them and preface it with the fear of not being believed. Good luck. Don't you dare call yourself evil. You seeked help and approached a third party with caution. You are a strong person for even opening up at all about your experience. You are the victim. And you are not hurting anyone else by altering your story for your own comfort. Why would she not have taken it as serious? That's sexist. It's really unfortunate as a man to know that boys and men will be unfairly labeled as predators by society when it was a girl or woman who was guilty. And it's even more unfortunate that you recognize this bias and figure lying about it being a boy will be taken more seriously by your female therapist. In any case, I hope you find the courage to tell the truth, both for your own sake and the healing process that comes from that, and for the sake of all the boys and men who've been falsely accused of SAW while female predators go underreported. I think the fact you lied about the gender for a reason you came up with in your head is telling. And you need to tell your therapist lol. Evil? No love. You just wanted to be heard and believed. As long as you didn't name a specific wrong person, then there's no harm no foul. I was SAW by a girl that was 9 when I was 5. It luckily has never mentally affected me the way it does other people. Bring out the truth to your therapist and work towards a healthier you. This is awful. All of the comments. I'm so sorry. I was SAWed by a girl that was 8 or 9, couldn't remember either way. She knew some things kids at her age shouldn't know. I was 6. Getting things like this off your chest is what therapy is for. You're not evil. People lie for all kinds of reasons. I think it's best not to presume outcomes and just always be truthful and honest. More than likely, anyone and everyone takes SAW very seriously regardless of gender. Although that's me presuming. But no, the gender isn't really relevant. You were victimized, that's the story. And I hate that it happened to you. I wish there was something I could do. Are you kidding? Therapists love a juicy plot twist to analyze the crap out of. I am sorry, I don't mean to say your trauma is juicy and all that, but I believe 100 she will take. It's serious. Bottom line. Tell the truth. Whatever happens, happens, but it is right and you will feel better. The same exact thing happened to me around the same age. It took me until post-college to remember the details. It is just as valid regardless of the gender of the offender. You are not evil. You also shouldn't feel guilty. Gender in the situation of you being SAWed isn't important. What's important is that you were SAWed and it's still traumatic. A therapist isn't there to tell you that you are wrong for having trauma from something traumatic. They are there to help you figure out ways you can deal with that trauma. A lot of people here are nudging you to tell her the entire truth. I don't think you should push yourself to be more open about it than you currently are. Trusting your therapist takes time. Trust always does. And sometimes pushing our boundaries, forcing ourselves to trust someone, that can hurt us. Now, what I would do is attempt to have a general chatter with her. Talk about SAW in general. Talk about public perception of male-female perpetrators. And see what her opinion on the matter is. This might help you already. And I hope she proves herself worthy of more trust. You deserve to heal. If you think your therapist would be dismissive because your assailant was a girl, I think you should be looking for a different therapist. I understand that feeling fully. Though I never lied on gender or anything. I've been just as afraid. Was 5 or 4 when I was SAWed by my mother's dad and I'm 15 now. Still screwed up from it. F your therapist if she wouldn't take you seriously. Imagine making up a different traumatic experience than what you went through because you're not getting the responses you personally want. Also, I don't know how you can magically know how your therapist would have responded if you just said, "What happened?" Actually, yes, you are evil. How are people going to take women sexual predators seriously if you're just going to continue lying about them doing it? That makes you part of the problem.